In studio with the fellas to react, and we will dive into all the game action, but we have to start there with Jayden Daniels and the obvious injury to the non-throwing arm. Damien, I want to ask you from a player's point of view, at what point does a coach need to protect the player from their competitive spirit?
Way earlier than Dan Campbell chose not to protect Jayden Daniels Dan Quinn chose to protect his player in Jayden Daniels. And I got to say, as a former player, as somebody who has played this game, has played with coaches who do care about their players, who take care of their players, I'm pissed off. Because this was malpractice by Dan Quinn. Having him in the game in the fourth quarter, down 38-7, when Jayden Daniels has already missed time with injuries. Now, on top of that, we can all sit up here and look at Jayden Daniels and tell he's not the biggest guy, right? He doesn't have a lot of things to protect him. I'm talking about muscle, okay? I'm talking about muscle for the people who don't know what I'm talking about. He doesn't have a lot of that. He is your most prized possession as a franchise, and you're just hanging him out there to do what? What was his purpose of being out there?
Yeah.
Was he gonna get any better? Was he gonna learn anything? Was he gonna bring his team back to win? No, no, no. What's the point of having him in the game? What's the point of having backup quarterbacks for a situation like this? When the game is out of hand, one way or the other, and your starters need to be out to protect them from injury, that's what they're for. They didn't utilize that. And now they're going to have to live with the consequences and the result of this injury to Jayden Daniels.
An important point you make there as well. Already playing in a knee brace due to a knee and having affected a hamstring earlier on in the season. It's an elbow this time around, Ben. When you look at, obviously, we want to tread as lightly as possible here, but you made a point on the play. Not only should he not be in, but that is a quarterback trying to do too much in a read option look and forcing the issue once again.
I just think at that situation, at that point in the game, it's 38-7. There's, 5 minutes left in the game. You're on the goal line. Regardless if that was a read option or not, the defensive end flew up the field. Jayden Daniels, you would just at least like to see a little bit of situational awareness there, right? It doesn't always have to be I need to make a play, I need to do this. Regardless, I mean, you never want to see a guy get hurt like that, let alone a guy, of the stature of Jayden Daniels. The way that he plays when he's out there directly affects this team. I mean, you can see the way that sideline, immediately rushed to, his side when they were hurt. You can tell that's the leader of the team. He has the respect of that locker room. It's a tough injury, especially for a quarterback. It's hard to tell Jayden Daniels, not to do that, because that's part of what makes him him, right? That's his game. That's who he is. But at that point in the game, hand the ball off, man.
But that's why you don't have him in the game, right? That's who he is.
The only way to protect him.
I've been saying that for the last hour. It was 38-7 at the end of the third quarter. The only thing that could have possibly gone wrong in the fourth quarter was that, right? I understand maybe leaving him in the game to try to get some offense going, whatever it is. He's been out a couple games, but Dan Quinn's been around the block a long time. He's coached a while. That was inexcusable.
This isn't the sophomore quarterback that needs reps. We're talking about the reigning offensive rookie of the year in Jayden Daniels. And when you are building anything, whether it be house or football team, there are weight-bearing elements you need to tend to. This is the tent post you build around if you're the Washington Commanders. We don't know the extent of the injury or the time that will be attached, but it did not look good, JJ. What does this mean to the construction of a franchise?
Yeah, a source actually told me it doesn't look good when I wanted to check in on an early diagnosis. We're still waiting on official word, and we'll bring that to you when we have it. But obviously, it's not going to be good news for Washington. When you talk about this is the sort of piece that you can build around, not only can you build around it, that's exactly what the Washington Commanders have done. They drafted him number 2 overall. You have what is the best deal in sports: a rookie quarterback or a quarterback on a rookie contract who plays really well. There is no better deal in all of sports than that. And so that's why the Washington Commanders are the oldest team in the NFL, because they decided, okay, we didn't like the draft picks from the previous regime. We need to go out there and get our own free agents. And so they added the Bobby Wagner. They added Von Miller, Laramie Tunsil, Adebo Samuel, Zach Ertz. The list goes on. This is by far the oldest team in the NFL. And it works because you can pay those guys, like a Marshawn Lattimore, for example, because you don't have to pay the quarterback. You don't have to worry about him. Guys want to come to Washington and play with him, play for this organization for the first time that you can say that in many years. But unfortunately, if you don't have that quarterback, if he is injured, none of this works. None of it works. You can win a couple of games with a Marcus Mariota here and there. you can't be playoff contenders. He is the straw that stirs this drink. Without him, and again, we don't know how long they're going to be without him, but safe to say it will be significant time. Now at 3-6, you're talking about, that's it.
That is a steep hill, and that could be a season said and done due to injury there again for Jayden Daniels. There is no obvious or easy pivot off of such an injury to one of the game's young stars, but there were about 40 minutes of football prior to that we need to dig into as well. Offensively, the Seattle Seahawks, as sound as we've seen them, and that's saying something this season. But I want to start on the defensive side of the ball. What did that group show Jayden Daniels pre-snap that makes them so dangerous right now? It felt like they won this game before balls were even snapped.
You know what's funny? It's almost like the Seattle Seahawks listened to our very own JJ before the game, because what did you say before the game, JJ? Please tell the people.
Well, I was talking about how Jayden Daniels has struggled against the blitz so far this year. They've blitzed him more than ever before, teams have. And they said, look, we saw you last year. Now let's see, when we bring extra pressure, how you can beat us throwing the football.
That's exactly what he said. You know exactly what Seattle did? They blitzed the hell out of him all game long, and they had a stat up. They had a little screen grab that showed Jayden Daniels versus pressure. It was about 2 for 8, 20 yards, an interception. That's it. So to John's point, you hit the nail right on the head. Seattle, they pressured him. They made him uncomfortable. They made him try to beat them with his arm. He couldn't do that tonight. The receivers were not open. The Seattle Seahawks played masterclass man-to-man coverage across the board. They shut down his options. They made him try to beat him with the throw. They didn't let him get active with his legs. And that's the recipe for success against this team.
Ben, what did you see in the nuance in the way that they were bringing that blitz? Because we saw some corner fire. We saw some A-gap stuff. This wasn't man-to-man simple look coming down the barrel at you. They were throwing some looks.
They were sending 4 to a side. They were bringing disguise, shaking it the other way. As a quarterback, it's tough, and especially, I don't want to get too deep into it, but when you go 2-by-2 opposed to 3-by-1, Washington was in 2-by-2 a lot tonight. And as a quarterback, it's tough to see rotation. It's tough to see where guys are coming from. You only get 25 seconds before every play, too. As that shot clock's winding down, there's a lot of stuff as a quarterback that you have to think about. Seattle did a really, really good job mixing up their blitz package tonight. That front four was deadly. They were flying around and caused havoc all night long.
The processing power of Sam Darnold on display as well. No issue sorting it out, especially in that first half. 16 of 16 for 282 and 4 touchdowns at the break heading into the locker room. JJ, it feels like we continue to give this man his flowers, and he continues to push that bar even further. Again, early and often to Jackson Smith and Jigba, but what of Darnold's performance specific to that first half made you feel like that this is a team that can go places with this quarterback?
Yeah, really, really impressive, right? Obviously, he was so accurate with the football that he had Jackson Smith and Jigba. No Cooper Kupp, right? Inactive. So there wasn't that other sort of wily veteran receiving threat who was necessarily out there. They ran the ball, and they ran the ball well. You're not going to see it in the stats, right? I mean, Kenneth Walker led the team with 11 attempts for 42 yards. But what you aren't going to see there is Sam Darnold kept them ahead of the sticks. He kept them on schedule. So you never really needed Kenneth Walker to break off that 10-yard run on 3rd and 7 or whatever, right? Because he was ahead of the sticks. The only mistake that he made, and Ben, you talked about it when we were watching the game, kind of throwing across the body or back across the field, that was a bad throw that we saw Sam Darnold make the final 2 games of last year, when that ugliness kind of rears its head. We are seeing the Sam Darnold we saw today is the Sam Darnold that Minnesota saw last year and got last year. And it's the Sam Darnold that Seattle signed up for this year. But those throws, he made some of those throws in the final 2 games last year that cost his team, that everybody is a little hesitant about with Sam, right? Got to erase those.
Showed you one of those.
Just one, and that's okay.
Keep you honest, but it was quite a first half. Obviously, they take care of business on the way home. It feels like we are at the halfway point of the NFL season. It doesn't feel that way. It is that way. It feels like the conversation is broader as it pertains to the MVP. Sam Darnold, a part of that conversation as we head home now?
I think with a game like this, I mean, even with the boneheaded interception that he threw, the fact that he did all of this on prime time, too, because the big topic of conversation is we don't see the Seahawks play a lot. We look at their record, but we don't actually get to see it. We watched it tonight on prime time, the only football game on. Everybody was tuned in, and he delivered. I mean, he was laser focused from start to finish. Again, one interception, got to get rid of that. But just the way that he's running the offense, the confidence that he's playing with, the way he's delivering the ball to his true number one receiver in Jackson Smith-Njigba, who, by the way, he might just be the best receiver in football right now. I'm just going to throw that out there. But the way that Sam Darnold is doing these things, watching it on prime time, he has to be in the MVP conversation.
The Seahawks record doesn't lie. To 6-2 they go. The Commanders, big question marks following an injury to Jayden Daniels. Gentlemen, thank you as always as we take a look at consecutive games with 8 or more receptions and 120 in receiving yards. Jackson Smith-Njigba came into this week leading the NFL in receiving yards and only tacked on to that 4 such games in a row.